Hi, everybody. Another edition of Tarter Sauce. I'm Steve Tarter, and here we are at the palatial Peoria Journal-Star. And we've got some guests today to talk about local food and the need for local food and how you can go about getting it. Of course, Terra Brockman, known to many in this area, local food enthusiast, educator, activist. We'll find the right word.
All of the above.
Writer. We'll talk more to Terra. But also we want to introduce Evan Barry, a local farmer, East Peoria, and Downriver Farm in East Peoria, and Kira Santiago with Kira's Flowers. So, and you guys are related, right? Okay, all right.
She's my niece.
She's your niece. We've got everything out on the table here. Speaking of table, you sent a very interesting release, Tara did, to us here at the paper about an upcoming speech that you're doing, a program on Saturday in Pekin. Whereabouts in Pekin?
Just outside of, it's between Pekin and Tremont, but closer to Pekin on Route 9. It's at the Heritage Farmers Market, which is right on Route 9.
And is that near the gas station that still gives full service? Phil Luciano just did a story on that.
Well, it sounds like you know more than I do. Yes,
the only
probably.
one. It's in Tremont, apparently, so we don't want to get off subject here.
Okay, you know, but between Tremont and Pekin on Route 9, closer to Pekin.
And it's over the lunch hour, 11:30 to 1:30.
Yes.
And you guys will be there too.
We will be there.
Yes.
So this is the idea is to give people information about how to get local food, the importance of local food, and what's the first message, Tara?
First message, I would say, is that local food and farms are really important. And then we can go into all the reasons that that is so, and that the food and flowers that come from those farms are better than you can get anywhere else, again, on a number of levels. And the third part of that being, if you don't patronize, if you, the customer, doesn't buy from the local farm won't exist anymore. It's as simple as that. So it's this great food, great flowers, great produce from local farms. We're very lucky that we have it, and yet we're at a little bit of a point where if people can't make a living on it, they won't do it anymore.
Well, and that was a point you made sort of on the release here. You said Doug and Donna Sassman's Heritage Farmers Market was on the verge of going under. This is late last year, and then you did some things to raise the awareness.
They have been, how many years now? 10 years, 12 years? They've had a local food market on Route 9, about 24 farmers, produce and meats, eggs, I don't know, grains, lots of different things from local farms. And so it's a real collection point. You know, you don't have to go to 10 farms. You go to the Heritage Farmers Market, get your local produce. And it had been going well for, like I say, 10 or 12 years. And then there was not a huge downturn, but enough of a downturn in customers that they felt like, how much longer can we keep the doors open? And that was at the point where we had a little talk and thought, you know, people won't know this unless we tell them. If they just come to the store one day and it says closed, we're out of business, they're going to be shocked and disappointed and didn't have the opportunity to say, I want this store, I want to support this store. So we decided to put out a little note basically saying thank you for all these years of your coming to our store, but if you're not here for us, we won't be there for you. And then there was a massive outpouring of people coming to the store saying, I had no idea. I just got out of the habit. I thought you would always be here. And it's like, well, no, we're not Walmart. We won't always be here. And nevertheless, how many customers come, we are dependent on you. And hopefully you value what we do enough that you will come. And so, yes, so it's been a good resurgence, but at the same time, you know, January, February tend to be slow months, so we decided we were going to do activities that would keep people coming and keep this topic of local food and local farms in front of people. And
the Saturday program, there'll be others speaking, or they'll be there for people to talk to?
Yeah. So, it's not a super formal program. I was going to say a few things, present a few bits of data, and then it was going to be more of a discussion, Q&A, and bringing some local farmers, also some of the farmers who routinely have their products at the Heritage Farmers Market, and of course Doug Sassman, who raises meats and also runs the store. we're all going to be there, and it's going to be sort of a meet and greet and ask and answer questions.
Meet and greet with MEAT. Okay.
In fact,
there you go. See, it's all about marketing with Terra. Evan, what's your message to somebody? How long have you been farming?
So I've been farming about 3 years. I started off in North Carolina just volunteering, and that's sort of how I got into it. It was like come out, whenever I can. And then I started to really fall in love with the people. And then, after that, I ended up working on that farm, and then I traveled and farmed. There's a program called WOOF that I did in South America where I was working on farms in 4 different countries down there. And then I actually was just working with Terra's brother.
Henry.
Henry. Henry Brockman owns it.
Well known in the area.
Yeah, he's awesome. He owns an awesome vegetable farm out in Congerville where they live. And so I was just a farmhand there this past season, which is where I also met Kira, and now starting my own operation this year. So.
Was it difficult getting land or getting the farm that you now have, the Downriver Farm?
Kira really brought that to my attention. She's been farming on land that we rent from Dave Bishop, and we thank him many times over for allowing us. He's really famous in the organic food and organic production in this area. He's a farmer and everything, but he rents out. This is where he grew up, and so we rent that from him. And yeah, so she's been farming there 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, and he's been really understanding of that, we're beginning farmers and we don't have, a lot of capital going into this. And so he's been working with us on being able to rent this great property because it is really, really hard to buy land here.
Right.
You want to describe that property just a little bit?
Yeah.
'Cause it is special.
Yeah, it's a very special.
So it's an old Civil War era farmstead, 1867 farmhouse. There's about 100 acres total. Some of that is in corn and soy. But right around the house, we have about 2 acres, which we'll be farming. And there's like 30 acres of woods. And then I have access to about 6 acres of wildflowers, which is really great for my business because I'm a flower farmer and florist. And the barn on the property is an old Sears Roebuck barn, I think built in 1927, somewhere around there. And it arrived, the whole kit, everything, the shingles, the nails, the windows arrived as a kit at the Groveland Depot, the little town near us. And then they took it out on wagon to the farm. And I think it cost like something under $2,000 for parts and labor, everything to be put up, and it's a beautiful barn, and the whole property is beautiful. It's only a couple miles off of 74 and 474, and we're not too far from civilization. We're not like way out in the country, but there's about a half-mile long lane to our house, and so once you are out there, you just really you feel like you're. Do
you find people are, and maybe for both of you, surprised, that you just met them, they don't know from whence you came, do you tell them what you do? Is there a reaction like, well, how do you do that, you're so young, you're how do you get into that? I mean, have you had that reaction?
Yeah, I'm still kind of getting used to it, and you never really get used to calling yourself a farmer per se, but we were blessed with a really incredible opportunity, and I just sort of fell into it. She did all the hard work, really. But yeah, we were just, it is land access is the number one issue for young farmers, and also having the capital to start farms. And so there are, financing and loan options that you can do. But yeah, I mean, it's really land access is the number one, and being able to find access to the land that we have and that she found. That's the only reason we can do what we're doing. That's the only reason.
How do we get more people into farming? I know we should say the Land Connection, which Terra was a part of, how many years ago that started?
Founded in 2001.
Right. So it's been 17 years.
And then one of our flagship programs was Central Illinois Farm Beginnings, and that was still is the farmer training course, full year, both classroom and mentorship. And so how do you get into farming?
Unless
it's a
you're
complicated
on a big farm already.
right. So that was traditional, of course, was the passing down of the farm and the knowledge and the machinery and the machine shed. I mean, it used to be that, it was generation to generation for many generations until fairly recently, where now we have much older farm population, I think average age being around 60, and that's the average. So many 70, 80 plus year old farmers and not so many 20, 30-year-old farmers.
Right.
And so now, how do you become a farmer? There's many ways, but I think the best way is to do what Evan did, which is a full year on farm, day by day, through the entire season with an existing experienced farmer. So an old-fashioned apprenticeship kind of thing.
And of course, I don't know if it's the chicken and the egg. We want people to buy local food, but we need local food to be available, flowers, whatever. Now, you have some interesting statistics here. 3%, I think this was a study some years ago, in Illinois get local food of the population. So it's pretty small compared to Michigan, which gets like nearly 18%.
Yeah.
So how does that happen? Does Michigan have more local farms, or are they just smarter up there, or what's going on with that?
Again, it's like a number of different things. First of all, it is more of a hilly, it isn't the 10,000 acres of flat land that you can do.
Black dirt.
Yeah. So it naturally kept some smaller farms and a lot more diverse fruits, vegetables kind of farming than we have down here. So part of it is like just landscape and size of farm and type of farm that they have, which is more of the local food type farms. But on the other hand, they have had a push now for many years, decades, through, I think, the university at Ann Arbor, local food systems sort of study and promotion that has been consciously trying to make policies and efforts toward facilitating those farms, and especially the new farmers coming on, and the marketing. So the ideas of food hubs and collection points and getting that food to more people,
Things we could do here.
Exactly.
And I know that you guys are all trying to do that. What would be like a first thing? And you mentioned before we started the program that it's multifaceted. It isn't just, well, if we could do this, then we'd be all set. Yeah. It's multiple things. So name one thing that could start the ball rolling.
Well, I guess the simplest and not easy, but the way that why we're here today partially is awareness raising. So again, it's a collaborative effort, and it has to have the relationship between the consumer and the farmer. And the consumer has to know first and then value that. So a lot of what I do is awareness raising. We have great local farmers. Many are young, some are older, but the fact is that they won't be here for us in the future unless we're here for them. So I think number one is awareness raising, and then after that you can get into a lot of sort of policy level things and sort of practical on the ground level things as well.
Kara, how do you market Kara's flowers?
I have a 45-member CSA in the Peoria area.
And why don't we explain CSA for folks that I know you know it.
Yes.
I barely know it, but
a CSA is like a subscription program where you pay upfront at the beginning of the season for weekly shares of whatever you sign up for the CSA for. So either vegetables, flowers. It's expanded into other areas like cheese and eggs and meat as well. And so with my CSA, people pay upfront at the beginning of the season. And then they get a bouquet once a week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, mixed bouquet, large.
And I would say that it's not just like she went out there and slashed some flowers, and she actually designs the bouquets. And so they're actually beautifully arranged with color and texture and arrangement. And so it's not just like, you went out and picked a bunch of flowers. She does that, and then she does the artistic arrangement. Wow. So it's not... It is a bouquet of flowers, but it's more than your average bouquet of flowers.
Is that your limit? I mean, are you doing this alone, or?
I have been doing it alone. This year, I will be hiring a couple part-time people, but up until this year, I just finished my third season doing this full-time by myself, and it's been a lot of work. But
you enjoy it?
Yeah, I
Okay.
do. I make over 650 bouquets for the CSA alone every season, and that by the end you kind of you're ready for a little bit of a break, but that's what the winter's for. And right now I'm itching to make a bouquet.
Okay. So,
But actually explain also the CSA, it stands for Community Supported Agriculture. Again, this idea that we support the community and the community supports us back, and that we're all in this together sort of feeling. So joining a CSA is like putting your money where your mouth or your beautiful flowers are, and saying, I'm going to support this farmer for the whole season by joining the CSA, and for a relatively low amount of money per bouquet, much less than if you went to a florist, I can have a beautiful bouquet on my table every day, or my office cubicle, or whatever I want to beautify, or give to my significant other or my mother or whatever, so it's a great thing.
so somebody's listening or watching this and says, well, okay, I didn't know about this. How do I get in a CSA? So what do you tell them, or where do they go?
Well, I offer a 25-week CSA through Downriver Farm.
Is it online?
Yes,
Okay.
sorry. So you can sign up on my website, downrivervegetablefarm.com, and I accept payments via PayPal or through checks. And again, that's a 25-week CSA, and it's $500 for the whole week, so that ends up being $20 per week, and you're getting about $25 worth of produce, which when you see, we'll have canvas bags with our logo on them that we'll hand to people full of produce, and you'll get much more than you would get from the supermarket. And so the benefits of joining a CSA are that you're getting these products a lot cheaper than we would be selling them at market.
And you're getting them right off the farm.
Right. And I mean, I'm harvesting them the day before or the day of. So you're getting produce because, most of this produce is cut from the field 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago if it's coming from California, which is where most of our organic produce and produce in general comes from. And right when you cut a plant, it starts dying, right? And so the nutrition leaves, the flavor leaves, because nutrition equals flavor. So by the time it gets to you, it tastes, and basically all they're doing is spraying it with water because it can still uptake water. A plant can still uptake water. So it tastes really watery when you get it. That's why all you can find in supermarkets is iceberg lettuce that just tastes like water. And there's no nutrition left in it, so you have to eat more of it to feel anything, and that's why so many people don't like to eat vegetables, is because they don't fill you up. Right. But it's because you're getting these, vegetables that have no nutrition, they have no flavor, they're not enjoyable to eat. And so yeah, if you are, anyways, I went on a little.
Well,
No,
you can also.
That's what we're here for, Ellen.
Yeah. So
And the price thing, $500. This is something that some people, they see that $500 for the season and they go, oh my God, can't do it.
Yeah.
And the whole point he's trying to make too is that when you break that down, if you had bought that same share of your weekly vegetables at the store, you would have spent more. It just would have been $30 or $40 per week, but he's only at $20 per week.
Yeah.
So.
And are there, I assume, having talked to Terra in the past, I know there are many CSAs around. Is there a listing somewhere? Can somebody go somewhere and say, oh, okay, I'm going to try? Because is the logistics an issue? Do they have to come to you, Evan, to get that?
So we offer different pickup points.
Okay.
I'm offering a pickup point in East Peoria on the farm, which is easiest for us. But we're also doing a pickup at the riverfront, and then in West Peoria.
Oh, Peoria Riverfront?
Yeah, at our friend's house in West Peoria also. So we have kind of all of Peoria covered, and then she does pickups in Morton and Eureka and a few other
in Bloomington
kind
as
of
well.
satellite locations.
A good resource for people that need to or are looking for a CSA in their area is localharvest.com.
Org.
Oh, .org. Localharvest.org.
And who does that?
Guy out in California. It's
it's
just
a
a national
private,
online, and pretty much everybody who has a CSA or even goes to a farmer's market lists themselves on localharvest.org.
Okay.
And the other one is probably Illinois Stewardship Alliance might have a local listing of Central Illinois CSAs, IllinoisStewardshipAlliance.org, I think, in Springfield area. And the other thing is these days, just Google
Yeah.
it. If you just said CSAs in the Peoria area or CSAs near Eureka,
You'll find something.
It'll pop up. But Local Harvest, I would say, is probably the best. You put in your zip code, you say, I'm looking for fresh local food within 20 miles or 50 miles or whatever, and then so you just put in that, and then it pops up all the places you can go.
You know, one of the things, and I think, Terry, you already addressed this a little bit with the reasons maybe for we hear about local food. It's sort of an ongoing trend. And then I think you mentioned nationally it's kind of crested or fallen back a little bit, the various reasons for that. One I can't help but mention is the supermarkets today, which are, huge, many of them, have sections now with local food, or so they say, or seasonally. You know, I mean, they may have corn or whatever it is at certain times. So the customer might not think, well, I'm getting it by going to Kroger or going to Walmart or wherever you're going. But that's not necessarily the same thing.
Yeah, I think, again, it's many factors, but one of them is certainly that a large corporation, whether the grocery store is a Kroger or an IGA or a Walmart or a Whole Foods, they all have huge market research departments. They do national research. They have, good people doing on the ground, focus groups and things to figure out what are people thinking, what do people want. And of course, over these past decade or more, has been local food, fresh, local from the farm. This has been something that consumers have been saying. So the supermarkets have responded with these sections of their store with nice signage and almost faux farmers market-y sort of stuff, and big signs that might say these things. But when you actually go in and look, there, I would say, is more marketing than reality, and that store more than likely is not actually supporting the local farms. Maybe it's organic, maybe it's not, maybe it's local sometimes in sweet corn season, but mostly not. And so, I guess if you go into your store, you might want to really go a little deeper than the surface signage and find out, is it really so? But in my experience, and other farmers I know have said that, it's some mangoes from Mexico. It's not actually local produce, and people don't know this sometimes. And so I would say the only way you can truly know that your food was grown locally and that you're supporting a local farmer is to get it directly from the local farmer, whether that's by joining a CSA, which is an excellent way to do it, or by going to a local farmer's market and meeting that person and talking to them and visiting their farm. That's ideal.
And, I think the downtown farmers market in Peoria seems to growing. It's Carrie, you mentioned it's more than just the food. It's not getting into ceramics or other things that people are interested in, and they can set up a booth. Is that something is that a good starting point for people who might not find their way to Evans CSA, but might go be down there on whether it's Peak in Peoria or wherever your farmers
You should
market
talk about
is.
that farmers. How many years you've been going to Peoria Riverfront Market now?
This will be my 3rd year
I
coming
mean,
up.
it is good. You can talk about that a
Yeah,
little bit.
I mean, it's a really up and coming market. There's, over 70 vendors, and it's right on the riverfront. There's things from, vegetables and fruit to, ceramics and jewelry. There's some prepared foods, and they do a lot of different programs like chef challenges, and a lot. Just what else is there?
A lot. There's music. I mean, it's an event,
Right.
and like you said, that is the best place to start, I think, because for someone like me, where you said it, I'm a young person, so it's kind of hard to build credibility. I stand by my product. Like if you're nervous or anything, just come talk to me and try a bunch of carrots from me, or that's a good place to start. Just go and buy a bunch of carrots and taste how much more superior they are to supermarket carrots, and then cook with those, or just take little bitty steps. You don't need to do all your grocery shopping, although it is much appreciated by farmers, and you can build up to that point. But and
you can ask the farmer questions.
Yeah,
you can say, how did you raise this? What should I do with this? Things like that. What do you recommend for me?
Yeah. Or if you wanted to get more different things, how do I do that, and so forth. That's a good starting point. What about in the meantime? We're in winter right now, extremely cold one until fairly recently. Are some of these folks holding on? Because you just mentioned that a very successful place that had been, rolling along there almost was starting to think about, hey, maybe we have to close the doors. Can people do something in the wintertime here to...
Yeah. Kira, is there a winter's farm? So first of all, the Heritage Farmers Market is open 6 days a week or 5 days a week, year round. So, and that's, of course, there's no local produce except for root vegetables at this time of year, but there still is local meat, local eggs, local milk from Kilgus Farms, and other things. So there is the Heritage Farmers Market 12 months a year. Some markets are doing winter in Bloomington and Peoria.
The Riverfront Market will have their first winter market coming up on the 20th of this month, and it's going to be at the River Station. I'm not sure the exact hours.
Yeah, you can find it on the internet.
Yeah, find it on.
And that will be what, a smaller version of the big one.
Yeah, and there will still be some produce there. There'll be the root vegetables, and I think there's a couple farmers that grow things like spinach inside of greenhouses, and people are expanding. Like, people are growing microgreens a lot now, and those are kind of like sprouts, but chopped off.
Yeah,
really.
And what will
nutritious.
you have at the? Will you be at that market in January?
I won't be at that market, but I do still have potted bulbs for sale. To extend my season, I do holiday wreaths for Christmas, and then I do potted amaryllis, potted paperwhites, potted hyacinths, and that's what kind of helps me get through the winter until my tulips start blooming in the spring.
Oh,
and those three potted things will be at the Heritage Farmers Market this Saturday.
Yes, they will.
If somebody wants a nice spring flower in their kitchen, even during the snowy winter.
Yeah.
You kind of alluded to it earlier, Tara, but let's tell people the title of that presentation is "Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is: Doing Good by Eating Well." So that's and you make the point, and I think we've already made it here, that there's so many good reasons to do local food. The cost that Evan brought up, you save money, you get better stuff, it's better for you. You're helping the local economy, which is always important, but. Yet people are creatures of convenience, and that's the rub. But they may be listening to this now, or watching this now, and saying, "Boy, that's a great idea," and then go right off and do something else.
That is exactly kind of why we're doing this program and continuing to.
You will go to the CSA.
It's like we are creatures of habit, and we think that we are so stressed for time in our lives, and in many ways we are, but all we have in life is time, and how you decide to use your time is really what you have control over in your life. And if you're not making time for yourself and your body and your personal and physical and spiritual well-being, then what's the point, kind of? So I think that people have to take a step back and say, what do I really value? And I think that the things you've talked about, valuing taste, nutrition, supporting a local farm, the beauty of a bouquet of flowers, which can just brighten up your life, is kind of incalculable. And yet that we are persuaded that we don't have time for this, but we can make time. We make time for lots of things. We make time for Netflix. So
Facebook, which we're on.
Hi, yeah. So I guess I would urge people to say, what do you really value? And you probably value personal relationships to the community. This is a great way to get to know a local farmers. So putting your money where your mouth is means, stepping back a moment and saying, what do I really value? And then doing good by eating well is you're doing good for your personal health, your nutrition, you're doing good for your community, you're doing good for your environment, clean water, clean air, healthy soils. So on all these levels, you're doing good. And at the same time, you're eating well. So
there you go.
There you go.
Well, we've given you some ideas here, folks. That's very good. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming around here. Kara, when do you start when do the tulips bloom? We want to hear about some encouraging things here in winter.
Well, this past fall, I planted over 1,800 tulip bulbs. Wow. And so beginning about mid-April, those will start blooming.
Oh, great.
And I will be having a big event on Mother's Day weekend to kick off the season, and that's going to be out at the farm. And we'll have tulip bouquets for sale, plant starts. We'll also be giving tours of the farm for anyone, and then the CSA members can come out and they can sign up for our CSAs. And yeah, so that's when those will start. I have other spring flowers as well, like alliums and peonies that will be coming up too.
And Evan, what's your kind of job list for the winter?
Oh my gosh. I don't think you want to.
Sorry I brought that up.
Well, Kira and I actually just bought a trailer the other day, an enclosed trailer to pull behind. And so we have to insulate that, and that's going to be our cooler, because one of the big expenses on a vegetable farm is a cooler, and then I have to get a truck, and we're about to clean up our chicken shed because we're going to have chickens next year.
Will that be part of the CSA?
Yeah, it'll be an added bonus. Yeah. And then, we're getting a 2-wheeled tractor, so we have to go pick that up. That's in Kentucky. So we're doing a little road trip down there to get that. What else?
That's all they need to know.
There's a lot more.
That's a to-do list that sends shudders down my spine.
We'd be here for hours.
But your new CSA, probably what's your first pickup? Like if people sign up for the CSA, they can get their fresh vegetables starting.
Yeah, May 19th will be the first pickup. And we're doing Saturday pickups, and then our East Peoria and West Peoria pickups are on Wednesdays. So that would be the Wednesday after the 19th, which is, I don't know, the 22nd, I think, 23rd. So yeah, that'll be the first pickup. And that goes till November.
On your website, Evan, if somebody looks at that and then says, I have a question, they can call you?
Yeah, they can. Okay. My phone number's up there. My email is up there. You can always come out and meet us. Mm-hmm. You know, we're very open people. That's part of CSA is it's a community. We want people to come out and talk to us and form something bigger than just, going to the supermarket and talking to nobody and then doing the self-checkout.
Talking to yourself.
Doing the self-checkout and then leaving.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. And Terra, you always stay busy. I know that. But future, you're doing a book signing at this, right?
Yeah. So I did that book a few years back about Seasons on Henry's Farm, and I'm going to bring some there in case people would like to read the book. I'll bring it and sign the books there. But mostly I just want to talk to people about the importance of local food on all these levels, and to get people to know that we have this store, Heritage Farmers Market, in our community that many communities don't have. So we need to
support it.
And the cafe will be open that day too.
So they have a cafe on site that does lunches and breakfast.
We went there. It was awesome.
Yeah.
This is the Black Angus
Cafe within the Heritage Farmers Market. Yeah, again, a local cafe, a real place to get real food.
So come for lunch, come find out about local food, and that's this Saturday out there in Pekin and Heritage Farmers Market. Well, I want to thank everybody and encourage everyone to think spring, and we'll get through this winter thing and get with some local food. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thanks to Matt Dayhoff for getting this on the air. I'd say on the air. I don't know if it's really a radio term, but we're going to use it. We'll see you next time.
Thanks. Tarter Source.